prancing along here, dancing to this music. There we go.
Prancing?
Prancing.
Did you use the word prancing?
Yeah. Little Grateful Dead here. I can
there's
just
anything wrong with
kind of stepping lightly, nicely on a Saturday morning, feeling good. It is time for Rockin Company's Rockin CU, brought to you by the family-owned and operated here in Colorado. 5 decades, 2 generations of historic and modern masons and general contractors. Build it with rock, build it with Rockin Company. Look at their work at rockinco.com. We welcome the publisher of buffstampede.com on the Yahoo Rivals Network, Adam CM777, his Twitter handle, AdamCM777. And good morning, Adam. We're going to talk about a win and a loss in recruiting for Colorado.
Yeah, Michael, I think you jinxed it last week when you referred to Colorado as quarterback U. I think you scared off Sharon Jones.
I think so.
but in all seriousness, unless you haven't heard yet, the former blue-chip quarterback recruit that had transferred from Tennessee to Colorado decided here in the last couple of days that he wanted to return to Knoxville. And you think you've seen it all as a sports fan and as a reporter, but I had never even heard of this 14-day window that these transfers have to transfer back without any type of penalty, and that's the situation with Jones. He gets to go back to Tennessee, no harm done on his end. He gets to be a redshirt freshman out there, and of course, Colorado, unfortunately, all the excitement that had built up over his arrival is now turned to disappointment that he won't be part of that quarterback mix here going forward.
This has to be, along with Shea Fields, the highest-rated player, at least in his high school career, to sign with Colorado in the McIntyre era. And what was really something that you hit on last week must have made a big difference was Tennessee didn't want him to go. They expect him to get on the field next year. How much did that play a difference in Sharon's situation? And it's very cloudy. What do we know and what can you say about why he's going to stay at Tennessee?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. They really did put on a full-court press, the Tennessee players, in terms of trying to get him back to Knoxville. And then it sounds like there's a private situation that's involved in this that played into it as well. And we'll let Jones talk about that publicly if he decides to. But there's definitely more to the story than just on the surface. I'm told that Sharon Jones did like Boulder. He enjoyed his very brief time in Colorado, so it wasn't a situation where he came out and was like, I got to get out of here. So it was a combination of a couple things.
Lost one, got one. Kayron Bayham, which I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. A commit who came in with a bunch of high school teammates, many of whom were rated higher than he is, has committed, and he is going to come. And I guess the natural question is, let's talk about Kayron, who comes from a brilliant high school that supplies Southeast Conference teams with great players. And I think Colorado's gotten players out of John Ehret High School in Louisiana as well. And is there a string attached? Will he pull in other players that came in to visit with him?
Kayron Bayham, yeah, he's a 5'11 and a half, 195-pound guy, athlete that played quarterback there at John Ehret, is expected to play cornerback for the Buffs. He was committed to Missouri early in the process and decided to open his recruitment after the coaching situation there at Missouri changed. The guy that had been recruiting him, the former receivers coach with the Tigers, is not back on the new staff there. And so he just fell in love with Colorado last weekend. He had some other solid offers: Arkansas, Arizona, Memphis, Georgia Tech, some other schools that had offered him earlier in the process. And he will try to recruit his best friend, Jarius Wallace, who was also in Boulder last weekend. He is a safety recruit that's going out to Arizona this weekend that will decide between the Buffs and Wildcats. And so Kayron, of course, said he's going to be in his ear, try to get him to follow him to Colorado. Look for Jarius Wallace to most likely announce his decision on Sunday. So the Buffs will find out then if they'll, get another John Ehret recruit. And you're right, yeah, they have recruited players out of there, most notably Cordell Stewart, who Bayham says they still have a big old picture of Cordell Stewart in a CU uniform at John Ehret, and Bayham says he's going to try to make that a pipeline for Colorado here going forward. He's going to try to recruit guys for the next couple of years, obviously now being a Buff.
Boy, wouldn't that be terrific? So Bayham and Wallace could be the defensive backfield in a year or two up in Boulder.
Potentially. I mean, yeah, you never know until they get on campus. I think there are some young guys on Colorado's roster that it's not like they're just guaranteed to step in and play from day one. I like what we saw out of Isaiah Oliver, a young cornerback last year. Nick Fisher played as a true freshman in the nickel back role. So, but there's no question there was a need for them to bring in some defensive backs in this class because there's only one underclassman safety on scholarship on the roster, and then those two cornerbacks, Nick Fisher and Isaiah Oliver, that are underclassmen on scholarship. So there was kind of a hole there they needed to fill with this recruiting cycle.
Well, next week will be the last show we do before the official signing day for college football recruits, and we'll go much more in depth next week on that. Let's switch over to basketball, where the Colorado Buffs had turned their season in a positive direction with one game out of first place, going up to play a team in a tie for first place, the University of Washington, that started 4 freshmen and seemed like a fluke on top of the standings of the Pac-12 conference with traditional powers like Arizona and teams with incredible recruiting prowess and seniors back in like Cal. And here was Colorado playing Washington for first place, basically to get a chance at maybe at first place. And they laid a terrible egg. I mean, this was a horrible performance up there. What really surprised me most is it looked like they were totally out-athleticized, that Washington was such an athletic program that Colorado couldn't stay with any of the guys on either inside or out.
Part of the problem was they turned the ball over 12 times in the first half, allowing Washington to get out on the fast break and really show off that athleticism. Transition defense had been something that Colorado had struggled with earlier in the season, and of course was a big issue in their last game. It's kind of a weird feeling because obviously road wins are tough to come by in the Pac-12, and as Colorado left last week, as a Colorado fan, you're probably sitting there going, okay, as long as they get a split, that's fine. And but after their performance in Seattle, there becomes so much pressure on this team going into today's game. Just going back to that Washington game, that was just the third time this season they had been out-rebounded, and of course they've lost every single one of those games that they've been out-rebounded. And obviously the type of performance, as Tad Boyle says, his program is predicated on defense and rebounding, and they didn't do either well, and they turned the ball over 12 times in the first half. Just not a recipe to win a road game. You almost have to play perfect to win on the road in the Pac-12. Dominique Collier, though, had a really good game out in Seattle, 21 points, a career high, 6 of 7 from three-point range. So if you're looking for the silver lining in that game, maybe some added confidence for the Buff starting point guard.
Well, Collier just came out that whole game, and he looked different to me. He handled the ball with a little bit of swagger and confidence, like maybe the Washington guys verbally got on him or something, and it made him mad. There was a difference to him just even emerging with the ball, but he was the only one. Nobody else played their game. The layups they gave up, the half court, the plays inside, everybody was out of position all game. I assume a lot of it was because the guards were beating guys like Fletcher on the perimeter and Collier and getting inside and layup after layup, the inside guys, and nobody was in position to rebound. Everybody's helping off the ball, and then nobody's boxing their man out. It was just a tragedy. I want to talk about the Washington State game briefly and get to the big recruit that's coming in on campus. Washington State tonight, game Buffs should win, right?
I think so, especially with that pressure, added pressure of losing in Seattle. Wazoo 1-4 in conference this season, 9-8 overall. They rank last in the conference. Now this is a pretty good shooting team. The Cougars rank second in the Pac-12 in field goal percentage, in fourth in three-point field goal percentage. So got to defend the perimeter, which throughout Tad Boyle's tenure at Colorado has never been really one of their big strengths. So that's maybe one key for this game. And you got to limit junior big man Josh Hawkinson. He's
their
Washington
star.
State's best player.
He is. But there could be a potential star. Colorado is recruiting Harry Froling, who's coming in, an Aussie, who could really put this program on the map in a couple of years.
Yeah, he's expected to announce between Colorado, SMU, Arizona, and Illinois. He just visited all 4 of those schools recently. So it sounds like within the next week we'll find out where that 4-star big man recruit is going to be headed for college.
He's in with big people. If you don't know it already, you've got to read BuffStampede.com, especially this time of year, recruiting season. Nobody touches what Adam Munsterteiger does. Thank you, Adam.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Adam Munsterteiger, BuffStampede.com, and that's Rockin Company's Rockin CU. 2 generations, 5 decades, historic and modern masons, general contractors, build it with rock, build it Rockin Company, rockandco.com.